So looking at before and after a little bit of gait retraining here, and we're particularly looking at the knee angle and the overstride. So we can see if we look on the knee angle on the before video, at the point of impact, the knee angle is about 17, just under 18 degrees, so that's quite straight. And then after a little bit of training, we can see we get that up to about 22, 23 degrees. And we can see that comparing the two, we're much straighter on the video on the left, the before video, and more flexed on the video on the right. And that's what we're going for. 20 to 30 degrees is more in the sort of ideal range. If we have the straighter knee, as we do in the before, that increases stress on the knee joint. It means that the foot, the calf, and the other muscles in the lower leg are sort of getting a free ride at the expense of the knee joint and the muscles associated with it taking all the stress. If we make the foot and calf work a bit harder, we get the knee bent. Then we distribute the weight a little more evenly, the stress, between the foot and the knee, so the knee's not taking all of the stress. And what this also does, if you imagine jumping with your knees straight, you tend to land with a lot of impact. And we don't really want high impact when we're running, so we want to land more softly. And landing with a slightly more flexed knee is a way to absorb that impact. The other thing we're going to look at is the angle of the shin. So the other thing we wanted to work on was this little overstride. So if we look at the video on the left here, I had to compensate for the fact that when I took the video I was a little tipped, so sorry about that. But if we look at the angle of the shin compared to the angle of the treadmill, which would be horizontal, it's sort of inclined backwards about 2 degrees. We've got that a little off there. So the shin's inclined backwards or towards the runner. Yeah, so the foot is further out than the knee, essentially. So we've got about a 2 degree inclination backwards there. If we look at the other side, after a bit of gait retraining, we've actually got that into a 4 degree angled forward. So we can see there on the video, on the left, the shin's angled backwards because the foot's too far out in front. We call that overstriding. The video on the right, the shin's angled forwards because the foot's behind the knee a little bit, so it's actually inclined forwards a little bit, and that has brought the foot more under the center of mass. So in the before video, the foot's too far out in front, we call that an overstride, and the after video, we've got the foot more underneath the center of mass. So 2 positive changes we've made there in terms of reducing overstride and increasing the angle of knee flexion. And we did that by increasing the cadence. I think the cadence was a step rate was about 170 steps per minute, and we increased that to 180. And you can see it just sort of tightens things up a little bit, brings the foot a little bit more underneath the center of mass, flexes the knee a little bit more, reduces the overstride, and tips the angle of the shin forwards a little bit instead of being angled backwards. So we've got less impact, higher cadence, which we know is better for running economy, and we've got less overstride, and we've got a little bit less stress on the knee. So all in all, a very positive change here. This went really well.